he was one of those directors that you loved his movies even when you didn't even know that who a director was or what a director did, you know. And then later on, you went back and wow, that film really moved me. And I remember, but a funny story is we were doing Body Snatchers, and the executive at Warner Brothers, he was like a young hot shot from Harvard, right? And, you know, he would be telling, I told you when we would write the script in this big boardroom and everybody, like 8, 9 people, you know, so everything had to be agreed by. Try to get any idea agreed by 8 people, all right? Now, I quit that gig about 400 times a day. I'm telling you. But I ended up finishing it. Christmas of that year, the executive gave my writer, myself, all of us. Did you ever read the book Hitchcock and Truffaut? No. You never read that book? You read that book. That's the classic book. Truffaut interviewed Hitchcock, right? I mean, we read that when we were kids. It was in a paper, you know. And I remember, like, I think I had that fucker memorized. But this is now, what, 20 years later, maybe. I mean, can you imagine a guy handed me the Hitchcock Truffaut book? He goes, read this. This is very important. Yeah, sure, dude. Anyway, reading that book again, I realized that fucking Hitchcock, he was just jerking Truffaut off the whole book. You know what I mean? It was like a Bible and like a foot. He was just like, I didn't think he took the guy seriously. And finally, the only thing he was saying to him is, dude, here's the thing. I know you guys make cool movies and everything, you know, and you're big fans of mine and shit. And, but you know, did you ever think of making a film that you don't need the language to get? You dig? Like when we show Psycho, when we show this film in Japan, or we could show it in a village in China, people are going to react the exact same way as they're going to react in Paris or New York. No one has to know one fucking word. And in fact, so much of those films didn't even have them. You know, I mean, Psycho had the fucking tremendous, you know, sections of that without a line of dialogue. You dig? He's saying that's the power of the cinema. You know what I mean? To make to do a film that it doesn't matter who speaks what, that you're unifying, you dig, and getting a reaction from everywhere in the world. That's the deal. You know what I mean? The idea of Hitchcock, you know, the idea of his montage and his editing and his deal, you know. And then he came, you know, the stories that I love about him was he was an expert on the New York subway system. I was thinking about that today. It's funny how he knew every subway stop in New York, the whole, he memorized the entire, you know, New York subway system. And he'd be with people and he'd be saying like, oh, the Prince Street station. Do you get off at Prince Street or do you get off at Canal? And people go, oh, when were you in New York? He goes, oh, I've never been in New York. You know? He goes, oh, when you go uptown, do you take the, you know, the F train or do you know what I mean? He's such a nut like that, right? So,